things in the studio here, and as a result of that, we were delayed a bit, but we're here, and we're gonna be here until just a well, we close at 10 tonight. All right. Um, the matter of the Prime Minister aspiring Jamaica being Singapore is a fascinating aspiration, and I really hope that we can spend a little time talking about that, because these are the types of conversations that matter. These are the types of conversation that matter. There is much disappointment, when you listen to the discussions taking place online. Um, the fact of the matter is that um, not many people are talking about these things, but we want to spend a little time and talk about that tonight. Good evening, Caroline. How are you doing?
Hi, neighbor. Good evening. How are you?
It's raining. Actually, raining where I am.
Uh-huh.
The rain just, my goodness, just before I came on, a massive shower of rain just came down, man, and just almost wet me up.
Oh, wow. Well,
Mhm.
it will make the place a little cooler, don't you think?
Yes, but sinus start to, but we're good, man. So you all right?
Well, yes, neighbor. I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
You had a good day?
Yeah. Actually, went down to Mandeville, and okay, picked up something from Mandeville,
Yes.
charging it.
Nice. But
Um,
neighbor, I think it takes about an hour to charge, doesn't it?
well, when I was leaving, it was about more than 60%, and they say that you must not use it until it is fully charged.
Uh-huh. Right, but I think it takes about an hour or so to
Okay.
charge. So maybe you may not want to overcharge.
No, 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 no. It has because I spent a little time reading. It has it chips out automatically.
Oh, okay, great.
Right. So
Nice.
when it's fully charged, you don't have to plug it out.
Oh, okay, great.
Mhm.
Nice. Happy to hear.
Right. So
Of
we
course.
we do have backup power here.
Huh?
Yeah. And we just need to move on to now making sure that our internet is stable.
Right, right,
Yes.
right.
One, one,
Listen,
one by one. One by one.
let's not finish that sentence, neighbor.
Not at all. Not at all. My eyes are giving me a little trouble, Caroline.
Oh my, is that the old age?
No, I think I need to change these glasses. They're about a year old. I think I need to change them.
Oh,
I
okay.
have dry eyes. So they. Can you imagine dry eyes run water?
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. All
I actually
right.
made
Well,
some. Is OTET apple? OTET?
you make another drink?
OTET, yes. OTET.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
OTET with ginger. Lovely.
Oh dear.
Yes. Nice.
Oh, I see.
And you don't you
I
don't
see.
you don't put any sugar in that. You just OTET apple with ginger. Wow. Have a little of it here. I have a little of it left here. These are old glasses, you see. You see. My grandmother gave me these glasses. Old. You know. Okay.
They're keepsakes. They're keepsakes, Neighbour.
Yes, OTET and ginger.
Okay, great. Glad you're enjoying it.
So refreshing.
Listeners, while Neighbour is speaking, could you please tap the screen, share the live, repost the live, send the heart me's, and keep the comment section active, please. Let us avoid the hashtags this evening. Thanks much. Yes, Neighbour, you were
By the way,
saying?
I'd love to please introduce the moderators.
Okay, great. I would love to do that. We have Blueberry and over here.
Now, where is Blueberry? Where's Blueberry from?
St. Elizabeth.
Is a brown girl.
Oh dear. Yes, Neighbour. She's what you call a browning.
Blueberry is a browning. Well, Blueberry, fantastic. Let me put on my jacket just because I'm a little bit chilly. In here is a little cold.
Right. So we got Blueberry and Damsel over here on TikTok, and then over on YouTube we got Keisha, and Wifestyle does assist us whenever it's convenient.
Okay, so you are on duty tonight, or who is on with me?
You got Blueberry and Damsel and Caroline.
Oh well, Blueberry and Damsel, great to have you. Welcome, nice. And they okay with me? They okay with me, or they complaining?
They're fine with you. They're just having some issues with you know who.
Okay, all right, okay, well, fantastic. I'd love to meet them on the program. You could put them up.
One of these days, Neighbour.
Yes,
I don't think they're ready yet.
Let me talk to them. Okay.
Of course.
You know, Caroline, it was so nice to listen to the Prime Minister gave the keynote address at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce 41st anniversary banquet, and the Prime Minister in that presentation said that Jamaica, he would love to see Jamaica become a Singapore of the Caribbean. You know that argument, Caroline, has been on since the 1960s. As a matter of fact, the leader of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, who died at over 90 years old, 2 million people lined the street of Singapore for his funeral, actually came to Jamaica. And although there is nothing in the history that suggests that he actually took Jamaica's model, but it is said that when he came here, he was so impressed with how Jamaica was developing in the 60s. Did you know that we created the industrial belt on Spanish Town Road there? You know, we have never really recovered, you know, and this is why this series that we are doing, the cost of collapse, is so important. Because here is the Prime Minister now in 2026 talking about Jamaica becoming Singapore, when Singapore in 1965 wanted to become Jamaica. Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a fascinating way to look at it. But we want to talk a little bit about that tonight. 20 after 7 o'clock. I better go.
You should, Neighbour. Listeners, welcome everyone. Please remember to repost, tap, share over on YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe. And let's get going, Neighbour. Have a great show.
Right. Okay. Now, before I go to the Prime Minister, there was a little matter having to do with Marvin, Little Fire Marvin.
When it comes to
Little Fire Marvin. Now, I don't know who Little Fire Marvin is. As a matter of fact, I only start paying attention when Mark Shields made a post about Little Fire. Well, Marvin and mad out. Listen to this.
People, let me tell you something. You see, when it comes to mouth talk and lip service, some people are very good at that. Everybody run out so that they must support Marvin Little Fire. Everybody say that him is the next prime minister. The man having protest.
No. It's not funny. It's not funny. I want to apologize, you see, because this program here is not for this type of rubbish, but bear with me. I want to point out something to you. Little Fire mad out. Little Fire Marvin mad out. Listen to it.
Everybody run out say that they must support Marvin Liquefire. Everybody say that him is the next prime minister. The man having protests and not one somebody turn up people. And Marvin in vexing till. But you're not supposed to surprise. I saw people of talk.
Jamaica with the on scene. And the people them there. The people them there here. Yeah? We not expect a 2.7 million people in our country. A whole heap of see if you down the nose one of the day or today. And one thing never telling you, know, if you can't support you when they're well ready to turn up. Nobody not call me if you go defend you, know. Who not call me? Because me not come no way. Everybody where they saw them me care about. Every Jamaican where they saw them me care about. The past 3 bus load of people are got beach. Who not got friggin' beach.
Oh my God, I tell you something. Little Fire Marvin, go on in your bed. Go on in your bed, go lie down and sleep. But there's a lesson here for all of us. I'm going to show it to you. Because Marvin's protest didn't flop because Jamaicans don't care. It flops, or it flopped, because cliques and courage and followers are not necessarily fighters. Jamaica is full of people who will like revolution from the couch, but won't walk for it in the hot sun. You know, online you get outrage. Offline, you need organization, trust, and skin in the game. Marvin had virality without credibility. Marvin had noise without boots on the ground. Marvin have no credibility. And that is why his protest flopped. Absolutely zero credibility. It's called slacktivism. Or clicktivism. Yes. A man with 150 followers could not get 15 people to support him. What does that tell you? You see, likes don't require sacrifice, you know. Marching does. And Jamaicans are practical people. And if you can't prove the risk is worth it, they won't leave them yard. So you build up a platform of 150,000 followers and you can't get 15 to come out to support you. Marvin was out there tearing down the Prime Minister every day. And what that was doing is building engagement, not trust. You see, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. You can go viral for tearing down, but you only get a crowd. Listen to this, Marvin. And all of you social media activists out there, you can go viral when you tear down. But to get a crowd, you need to build up. Remember me tell you that here? You now get no crowd in Jamaica if you tear down anymore. You can get a crowd to tear down online, not in the streets. Marvin, is a waste of time. And Jamaican culture has a built-in cynicism. Same story, different day. Protest not change none. People at Jamaica have marched for decades. You remember the gas riot? Who remember the gas riot? Jamaicans come out and have burned down the country over the rising gas prices. You remember? You remember when Jamaicans were burning down the country for gas price rise? What is the price of gas today? You see the absurdity? Tear down protest not taken away. Burning down the country for gas price at $220 a litre for gas in Jamaica today. And nobody now protest about it. Jamaicans will give you outrage for free. They only give you their feet when they believe feet will move something. And the Jamaican people know that Marvin can't do a damn thing. The Jamaican people know that Marvin a waste of time. You see, people go where people are, you know. A crowd pull crowd. The other thing is that Marvin has branded himself as a PNP supporter. And that killed him. That killed him immediately because you're not going to get any JLP supporters out there. And PNP supporters, they can't account. Oh God, they can't account. When PNP people protest, they don't know what they protest for, you know. You remember the one up at Hero Circle? The PNP learned that very well. It's party drama, not people drama. Jamaicans are tribal and they're also tired. If it not for the people, it not for me. And therefore, if your protest looks like party warfare, regular Jamaicans will sit it out and watch from Facebook Live. Marvin had 150,000 followers, but couldn't get 12 people on the streets. That should humble all of us, all of you who think TikTok gives you strength. It doesn't. Credibility is what gives you influence. You hear, Marvin? Credibility, and you don't have any. Everybody can come up on TikTok and shout. Make up a scene. You can't get 12 people on the street. I don't have a show off, you know. But I could pull 100 people any day. I just need to call them and tell them, meet me down here, so they come. Because I have influence. And I don't come up here at night and shout and behave like a Marvin. Because I don't want to become Prime Minister. 150,000 followers and you can't get 12 people? Because they are ghosts. They are ghosts. I wonder if you know that right now there may be more than 500 people watching this program on TikTok, but they're ghosts. You look in the chat and you don't see their names. And those whose names you see are labeled under a different name. As a matter of fact, some people have 10 accounts. So when you think you have 150 followers, you probably don't, you know. It should humble all of you who think you have influence online. TikTok is not the streets.
Asking everyone to repost, tap and share, please.
Twitter is not the street. And Jamaica don't follow noise. Jamaicans are able to decipher between substance and spectacle. And Marvin is spectacle. Wasting people's time. You should be humbled after this, Mr. Marvin. You could have bawled blood out there. Listen to him. Listen to how disappointed he is.
You not call me. Come now, come now. Everybody where they are, so them me care about. Every Jamaican where they are, so them me care about. You know, expect a 2.7 million people in a country. I whole heap I want to see video on the nose one of the day so today. And one thing never telling you know. If you can't support you when they're well ready to turn up. Nobody not call me if you go defend you know. You not call me. Come now, come now. Everybody where they are, so them me care about. Every Jamaican where they are, so them me care about. The past 3 bus load of people are gone beach. We not got friggin' beach.
Well, the people chose the beach. The people chose the beach, Marvin, because you have no influence. Why should they come and listen to you? A half-wit. It's a half-wit. Because only a half-wit could present himself as wanting to challenge the Prime Minister and become the Prime Minister. If Marvin is not a half-wit, then I think he should have his head examined by a psychiatrist. Quite embarrassing, actually. And that's a problem, you know, with many Jamaicans. They're believing their own lies. Believing their own lies. I have a little message for the ghost. I have a little message for the ghost of the internet. Firstly, that the shadow can't build what the light must carry. You hear that, Marvin? The shadow cannot build what the light must carry. Plato said the prisoners in the cave mistook shadows for reality. That's what you did, Marvin. You mistook shadows for reality. That 150,000 people you think you have, you don't have them. That's what you need to know. You don't have them. They are not your followers. They are not your followers. You know that this program has a group, a WhatsApp group. You know how many people are in it? How many people really support the Hello Neighbor podcast? At the end of the night, the numbers show 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people. How many people are on the screen watching and stay with us? You don't have the numbers you think you have. Don't be fooled by your shadow. The cave mistook the shadow for reality. Online outrage is not its shadow. The street is the light. Online outrage, Marvin, is shadow. The street is the light. And what that protest showed is that Marvin is irrelevant. Irrelevant. But become Prime Minister. half-wit. Marvin, you have mastered the cave. You can make 150,000 people online rage on the screen. But shadows have no weight. They can't pour concrete, teach a child, and fix a drain. A combative approach wins attention, not authority. Attention is currency. You hear that? Authority is trust. You spend all your currency tearing down. So when you ask people to show up and build, their pockets were empty. And you know, the first time I listened to Marvin, I thought he was intelligent, but I now realize that common sense is not common. You spend all your currency tearing down. And so when you ask people to show up, their pockets were empty. I don't know what is happening here, but okay. Well,
could you please tap the screen, share the live, repost the live, send the heart means, and comment? Please keep commenting.
No, they are attacking us. We're going to continue this. Listeners, I'm going to continue this on YouTube. Caroline, we're going to have to let's use the backup. Let's go to the backup page. Okay?
Okay, Neighbour, just go live on it now, and while you're still live on this, so you could continue.
Okay. All right. Because they don't like it. I didn't know it would hit. I didn't know it would hit them so hard. It's because I'm exposing the fallacy. And nobody else is going to do it. I'm going to do it. Not going to spend too much time, more time. But give me a little bit more time on it, and let me show them up. Let me show up the absurdity of these half-wits. Press on, HR Guru said we must press on. You're pressing on, but they have the live under restriction now. So they said that I mustn't trouble them. But I'm not going to relent. I will, if you want me to turn it up, I can turn it up, you know. I was trying to be soft, but I can turn it up. Don't let me turn it up. Don't leave me alone here. All right. Let me. We're gonna have to be live on the other page. So yeah, the listener say I'm to continue it. Yeah, it is. I will. Okay. All type of something happening inside. You give me a second. Oh boy, whenever you see the problems start to come in, you know that you're hitting hard. Okay. Let me know if you're hearing me. Still, what the dickens them doing to the program? All right. So we are live. I'm gonna ask you to jump over to the other page, because we're gonna close this one down in a while. You hear? So log on to the other one. You can trend without truth. Close your microphone, moderator. You hear that, Marvin? You can trend without truth. Because all you need to do is to come up online and use the word allege. Allege. It is alleged that this happened and that happened, and this I do this and this I do that. You can trend without truth. And I want you to stay tuned, because we are going to do something about it in the coming days. Stay tuned to this program. We have an announcement to make. You can trend without truth, but you cannot transform a nation without trust. Because he who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. He who fights with monsters must be careful that he don't become a monster himself. Because the adversarial approach feels righteous. But if the fight becomes your identity, you don't just oppose the government, you're opposing order itself. And Jamaica tired of this order. Marvin is a half-wit. And Jamaicans watch Marvin become the mirror of what he hated. Angry. Absolute. Allergic to nuance. People followed for catharsis. Not for construction. You gathered an army of anger, but anger has no boots, only burns. You gathered an army of anger, but anger has no boots, only burns.
Me to the God today.
Crash out.
3 busload of Jamaicans naked.
Gone to the beach. 3 busload of people gone where? To the beach. You think they had time for you? Abe. Jamaicans are gone to the beach to enjoy them holiday. Enjoy themselves. They don't have time for no half-wit. Don't have time for that. And your response is even worse.
You the garbage. When we ever stand up for each other? 64 police.
You see that? An army of anger. You see, power springs up whenever people gather and act together. Violence can destroy power, but it can never create it. Violence cannot create power, Marvin. And you choose violence of language. Call out, cut down, take down, character hits. And that is what is destroying your credibility. Because it cannot create the power needed for the protest. Your character don't create power. Power is 12 people showing up at 6 a.m. Power is taxis, churches, unions saying, we move with it. And your failure is that you try to create power by dividing. You don't create power in a country by dividing the people, sir. Because power is only born in gathering. And so what you have done is master division online. So you were powerless offline. Mastering division online and powerless offline. You know how to break the crowd apart with words. You never learn how to learn how to bring the crowd together with purpose. People gather for purpose. People protest for purpose, Marvin. And the protest was meaningless. It's an absurdity. Your 150 followers are ghosts. They love the hype because hype hides them online. They can be revolutionary for 3 seconds, then go back to work. No name, no face, no risk. But reality demands flesh. Protest demands skin in the game. And ghosts vanish when the sun comes up. Thank you. Ghosts vanish when the sun comes up. Oh boy. You sell them emotion, not a mission. That's what you sold the people. Emotions, not a mission. Emotion is easy to click. I had a talk with my moderator today about a mission. A mission. And we will show you here at Politics Plus what is a mission. We're not into emotions. We're into mission. We're not selling people emotions. We're selling them a mission. Emotion is easy to click. Mission is hard to walk. So they clapped from the cave and stayed in the dark when you called them to the light. You built a congregation of ghosts. Ghosts don't vote. Ghosts don't march. Ghosts only hunt or haunt. Finally, Socrates says the unexamined life is not worth living. Same for unexamined outrage. Combative bloggers never ask 3 questions. After I tear this down, what am I building? Am I offering Jamaica a road or just a roar? Would I follow me into the streets with my children? After I tear down, what am I building? Am I offering Jamaica a road or just a roar? And so the failure is this, that you had criticism without a covenant. You had accusation without an alternative. Jamaicans are tired of noise. They are hungry for blueprints. You gave them fire. They wanted foundation. Little fire? The people want foundation, they don't want a fire. You can't lead people out of Egypt if all you do is curse Pharaoh. You have to know the way to the promised land. If you are cursing the Pharaoh, you're going to fail. People are tired of noise. I have a personal word for you, little fire. Marvin, the people were never hiding from you. They were never hiding from you, sir. It's not you they were hiding from. Why they didn't come out. You hear? They were hiding from themselves. You hear that, little fire? Don't crash out. They were not hiding from you. They were hiding from themselves. Online lets us be brave without being responsible. When you are online, many people are brave. They're not responsible. But Jamaica's future won't be built.
Want to repost the live, please?
Jamaica's future won't be built by ghosts. It will be built by citizens who step into the light and pay the price and stay in it when the sun gets hot. Put down the sword of outrage, little fire. Put it down. Put down the sword of outrage, little fire. Put it down. Change your name. Put down the sword of outrage, little fire. Because fire is a flop. Because it is destructive. Pick up the trowel of solutions, little fire. Pick up the trowels of solution. Put down the sword of fire. Pick up the trowel of solutions. All right, little fire. So Marvin did not lose the government. He lost to illusion. He built a ghost army online, loud, loyal, and invisible. But ghosts don't march, ghosts don't vote, ghosts don't bleed, and in Jamaica, we don't follow followers. We follow flesh and blood leaders who have been in the heat before the high. Clicks have no gravity. Online outrage floats. It costs nothing to type, I am with you. So people do. 150 clicks. £0 of pressure. Protests require mass. Mass required bodies. Bodies require belief. Marvin had metrics, not mass. 1 million views can't fill one street. Enough on little fire. How is everybody doing?
Asking everyone to join us on the next page.
Hold on, dear. Okay, yes. Okay, okay, yeah. Please, switch over if you can. Switch over. If you can. What's happening now? What's happening? Join us the next page. Okay, which one? Which one? Okay, we're having a little problem with this one. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. Okay, so the Prime Minister, as I said earlier, oh my Lord, I seem to have lost that. But okay, hold on. All right. Let's see if we can pick up the Prime Minister and then come back with the discussions. The Prime Minister is he was speaking at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce luncheon. Let's hear a little of what the Prime Minister had to say at the luncheon.
Most consequential modern leader. It's all. He became Jamaica's youngest member of parliament. Over nearly 3 decades of elected service, he has held key leadership roles across government while championing national development and institutional strengthening. Since returning to office in 2016, Prime Minister Holness has overseen a period of significant economic transformation. Under his leadership, Jamaica has achieved historically low unemployment, substantially reduced public debt, strengthened international reserves, and enhanced investor confidence. These gains have been achieved through disciplined fiscal management and a commitment to sustainable, people-centered growth, while advancing reforms to modernize government services and expand digital access through initiatives such as the National Digital Identification Program. Prime Minister Holness has also led major advances in national security and resilience. Jamaica has in fact recorded the lowest murder rate in more than 3 decades, reflecting a comprehensive approach to crime reduction and public safety. His administration and his time of service has not been easy, because he has had to guide this country through major challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic, global disruptions, and the Category 5+ Hurricane Melissa. Today, he is spearheading a national reconstruction and resilience agenda aimed at building a more sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous Jamaica, where strong institutions like the ones represented here tonight have expanded opportunities to improve the lives of all citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Well, what a glowing introduction there. The Prime Minister is going to be giving the keynote address here. We'll take a bit of it and then we'll come back to say a little bit on the aspirations of the Prime Minister, wanting Jamaica to be like Singapore and Dubai. Fascinating. Listen to the Prime Minister. I don't think we can take that on YouTube. Here is the Prime Minister.
That you do, and congratulations on your presidency of the Chamber. Executive heads of various public and private bodies that are here, and just to sum it up all nice and decent people. Thank you for inviting me to join you at the 41st Annual Awards Banquet of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber has been part of Jamaica's commercial life since 1779. I didn't know this until I was preparing for this presentation. And that means that the Chamber has seen Jamaica through the colonial period, through independence, through periods of growth, periods of crisis, reconstruction, reform, and renewal. And the institution, the organization still stands. That is not luck. That is institutional discipline. The same quality we're here to recognize tonight in the businesses that are part of your organization. As an aside, I was with a very prominent business leader, Caribbean business leader, and he was pointing out that the relationship between businesses and government across the Caribbean, it is not always one of partnership or cooperation. Sometimes it can be very combative. I'm happy, again, driven by increased energy costs. And energy costs have gone up by some 60% since the Middle East conflict began. Grain prices are up, shipping costs are elevated. And these are conditions that businesses would have had to navigate from last year to now. Bear in mind that after the COVID pandemic, we faced a round of sustained increases due to supply chain disruptions. So it has not been an easy time for business. The fact that you are still here, and by the way, this is the largest turnout in this room I've seen in a long time. You're looking good. And the fact that we're still here, still investing, still employing, still improving, is a testament to your own resilience and commitment to Jamaica. And I want to commend you. Despite all the challenges, there is also good news. There is a lot to be proud of. Unemployment remains at record low. Inflation is back within the BOJ's target band. Our international reserves stand at US $6.5 billion, a record high. And let me just quickly add, don't come out with this. I'm at a lovely dinner here, so I may reserve my language, with any suggestion that we must spend the reserves. The reserves are there for our protection. If you spend off the reserve, you have no protection. You'll become open to speculators and all kinds of attacks on your currency. And then you become weak. And to my other great achievement, to which we should all be proud, the exchange rate has been stable. Sometimes we forget that there was a time when our exchange rate was unstable. And it has been stable now, going through all kinds of crises. Why? Because we have $6.5 billion reserve. And I gather that the exchange rate has appreciated slightly. Not necessarily a good thing, but to make the point. All three major credit rating firms have reaffirmed our credit rating after Hurricane Melissa. Moody's even upgraded us. Within weeks of the hurricane, the government mobilized $6 billion in reconstruction financing, the largest development financing package in Jamaica's history. Now, that didn't happen because of sympathy. It happened because the world...
All right, so we are listening to the Prime Minister as he gave the keynote address at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce 41st Annual Banquet. In this presentation, the Prime Minister, reviewing the country's economic performance, went on to speak about Jamaica becoming like Singapore. We want to deal with that later on. Let's listen a little bit more to the Prime Minister.
Watch us navigate 6 years of compounding crises and concluded that our institutions were credible and our commitments would be kept. So we not only have a reserve of funds in the BOJ, we have a reserve of credibility in the Ministry of Finance. Let me repeat that. Jamaica has a reserve of credibility. And that credibility had immediate, tangible consequences. Within weeks after Melissa, the government was able to write a check for $150 million to the Jamaica Public Service Company to restore electricity to the country. That we were never in such a position before to be able to do that. And there might be those wondering, was that a good thing? You? I mean, especially after but we were able to write the check.
All right, so guys, on this page, I'm going to have to close this page up here. So please go to the other page. I'm really sorry, okay? This page here is not working so well. So go over to the Hello Neighbor page and you'll find the program over there, all right? Sorry about that.
To restore electricity. For a family sitting in darkness, for a farmer watching a season slip by, for a small business that could not open its doors, 3 weeks instead of 6 months, that is not a simple gesture. It is profound for the restoration of lives and livelihoods. And we were able to do this because the country had credibility. Agricultural output has rebounded faster than projected. The Bank of Jamaica's initial outlook for economic recovery from Melissa was 3 to 4 years. It has revised that now to 2 to 3 years. We have also made historic improvements, as was said earlier, in public safety. After a 42% reduction in 2025, murders are now down a further 22.5% year to date. And this is not a flash in the pan. This is a sustained downward trajectory. In fact, murders are down 67% over the last 4 years.
Imagine that. Murders are down 67% over the last 4 years. Wow. Oh.
This is a game changer for Jamaican communities and Jamaican enterprise. So even after a sustained series of exogenous shocks over the last 6 months or 6 years, the macroeconomic foundation of Jamaica remains intact. The security environment is improving at pace. And the truth is that few would have predicted 10 years ago that we would be able to stand here today and say that murders are below 700. If you were to just think about it, 10 years ago, would you say that 10 years?
Okay. A little break from the Prime Minister there, but
or should we reimagine this? Should we take the opportunity to do it differently? To take away the exposure to failure? Every business in this room has paid for that cycle in lost inventory, missed delivery deadlines, suppliers that couldn't perform, customers that couldn't be reached. Infrastructure weakness is not a government problem. It is a cost to business that falls on you. So the need to not just build for recovery, but build for resurgence, build for stronger, better. It is a public good, but it is critically important for business. So NARA is meant to break that cycle for good. Its mandate is not restoration. I want to just say that clearly. The mandate of NARA is not restoration. It is reconstruction that strengthens, roads rebuilt to move goods with super reliability, water systems that support agriculture, tourism, and industry, energy infrastructure that reduces exposure to the next shock, and procurement that moves faster but still protects the public's purse. So NARA is about doing things differently, but better and stronger. As you played the clip of your efforts to clean downtown Kingston, my mind reflected on my graduation from St. Catherine High School. I met a few alumni here, and I went to the ball downtown Kingston. At that time, there was a hotel down there, not the Rock, the one before the Rock, Sheraton. Oceana. Oceana. This is such a long time ago. And it was a lovely ball. In fact, we could you imagine this? We slept on the grass. Yeah. And then took the bus and went home.
All right. So if you're just joining us, we are bringing you a presentation made by the Prime Minister at the 41st anniversary banquet of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. The Most Honorable Prime Minister gave the keynote address. We're bringing you excerpts from that. We'll be having some discussions on that later on.
In the morning. That's how safe it was. But it hasn't changed in over 40 years. In fact, it looks worse. I think it behooves all of us here to recognize that there has been considerable disinvestment in the infrastructure of our capital city, indeed the infrastructure generally of the island. And so while I applaud the attempt, it is merely a patch. There's so much more to do for downtown Kingston. The infrastructure there is in need of significant intervention. From the sewage, to the roads, to the sick buildings. It needs a massive plan. We are standing in our way. The level of economic and social mobilization that is required, it is not now only a matter of how it will be financed. The question is, do we have the administrative and organizational capability to do it with speed? Can our bureaucracy that we have built, can it manage transformation? That is now the new struggle. Can we get things done quickly, at pace and at scale? And that is why we needed to have created NARA, because the current bureaucracy simply could not take on the transformation that will be required in the recovery from Hurricane Melissa. The current bureaucracy has never spent $6 billion in any capital program. Think about it. And that is why we had to create literally a new framework to manage it. So speed matters, so does discipline. Jamaica has no shortage of plans. What we need now is execution at a higher standard and a faster pace. The private sector is not a spectator in this. We need contractors who can deliver quality work on time. We need engineers, architects, quantity surveyors, project managers, manufacturers, financiers, insurers. We are the insurers in the room here. Pay up. We need companies that will compete fairly, price honestly, hire locally where possible, and meet the highest standards. We also need the private sector to help to build the supply chains that can respond to crisis. You know, I commend the private sector for coming together immediately in the aftermath of the hurricane. You mentioned that group that met to work out your distribution and
All right.
so for financing. And let us crowd in the private investment with the public investment. In other words, the $6 billion that the government is hoping to deploy could easily be multiplied by several factors over if the private sector is fully mobilized for this effort. So I'm using this opportunity to plant the seed in your minds, to start to think about all those projects that you have developed, but you have put in 513. Now may be the time to pull them, dust them off, revisit them, and see whether or not they can be crowded into the NARA investment train line. So that brings me to my closing of the presentation. You've been such a lovely audience as I rambled on. Productivity. So we have dealt with violence, fiscal discipline, resilience building, and now we're building resurgence. But the elephant is in the room, which we don't speak of, is that of Jamaica's productivity. We are the third lowest in terms of regional productivity. Many issues wrapped up in that, but I would just like to say that productivity is the heart of growth. It is how we turn effort into value. It is how wages rise without pushing prices out of control. I want to repeat that. Because as we are in this era, this period of wage negotiations, there is the view that you can increase wages inordinately, and it is of no impact on prices. If wages don't match productivity and you increase wages, it's inflationary. It means you're going to come back again next year, ask for more wage increases because prices have increased, and you come back again the following year and you're caught in this vicious cycle, which we have been caught in for the last 40 years. So I just thought I would say it here. Maybe we'll have more people saying it so that the outlook and view of the society can change, that people can start to focus on really what do they produce, what do we produce as a people to claim increased wages. It's a discussion we need to have. There's no value in money if it is not backed by production. And if you give people more money and there is no production to back it, then you're just paying more for the same production. It is an idea that needs to seep into the minds of the average Jamaican. So, it is how businesses grow without passing on higher costs to consumers. Again, another area that needs some discussion. It is how government collects more revenues without raising taxes. It is how Jamaica will compete with its peers' productivity. Improving productivity must become a national habit. For government, that means faster approvals, better project management, cleaner procurement, stronger digital services, and infrastructure that reduces the cost of doing business. And that's what the government is committed to doing. For businesses, it means investing in equipment, technology, training, management systems, export readiness, energy efficiency, and quality control. And I know every business here represented is doing just that, trying to improve your productivity in order to compete. And for our workers, it means skills, improving skills. And since I have the business community here, every day, a business person said to me, listen, Prime Minister, I cannot find people to work. But when I go out into the field, I see a lot of people not working. It is a challenge for businesses, and it is indeed at this point a constraint on growth. The question is, how do we attract the people who have decided to withhold their labor? How do we attract them into the labor market?
Oh, Shabbat!
Want people to come here and live and spend and hire and create and do business. By the way, that's Vision 2030. That is Vision 2030. Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise family, and then I said, retire in paradise. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we celebrate firms and individuals, and it is indeed at this point a constraint on growth. The question is, how do we attract the people who have decided to withhold their labor? How do we attract them into the labor market? It is a national conversation that must be had. But as our country grows and our economy grows and we approach full employment, which we are almost at full employment, we are going to have a new labor policy and a new policy on work because the current situation is indeed constraining on your output and your efficiency. But it also means that the Chamber of Commerce needs to join the conversation, needs to become stronger advocates. You can't just leave it up to myself and Tony. Because I'm going to say one thing, and anything I say, Tony going to say the opposite. So we need to hear the voice of the business community to not just advocate for your position, but to have a conversation with your employees and your customers, to speak generally so that the entire Jamaica can understand where we are today. It is totally different from the 70s. Where we are today, Jamaica could become Dubai or Singapore. where if our economy grows, we might have to bring people in to keep the economy turning over. Yes, and can you imagine that Jamaica has reached that stage? It is how Cayman has grown, Antigua is growing, all of these other countries that have taken our labor to build their industries. We mustn't see ourselves as closed, insulated, xenophobic, isolated. We have to see ourselves as a country where people want to come and live, and we must embrace them. Get the crime down, get the efficiency up, clean up the streets, start the reinvestment. You won't have a hand to sell Jamaica. Look, the model of development and growth for many years has been how many visitors can we have in tourism? That model needs to shift. It has to be how many people can we get to come and live in Jamaica. So it's not just the one-off 5-day tourism dollar that gets circulated out of the country. We want people to come here and live and spend and hire and create and do business. By the way, that's Vision 2030. That is Vision 2030. Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise family, and then I said, retire in paradise. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we celebrate firms and individuals who held their standards high when it was the hardest to do so. Several sectors that suffered the sharpest contractions after Melissa are represented in the room. The businesses being recognized tonight kept going. They kept investing when certainty was low and costs were high. And that is not a small thing. You are anchor firms, companies that don't disappear when conditions deteriorate. You are the foundation on which our economy and country depends. And I want to thank you and encourage you. Don't be pausing in your clap. That's it. Government will continue to protect economic stability. We will continue to invest in infrastructure. We will continue to confront crime. We will continue to support our reconstruction through NARA, and we will continue to work with you. But we need you to keep investing, keep training, keep exporting, keep improving, and of course, keep holding the government to account. And remember, you have to also hold yourselves to account. So let us build roads that carry commerce. Let us build firms that can compete beyond our shores. Let us build workers who are ready for the economy, and that is workers that are productive and creative. Let us build a country that can take a shock, quickly recover, and accelerate its growth. The Jamaica Chamber of Commerce is our partner. We respect you and we support you. Thank you for your leadership across 247 years of Jamaican commercial life. To the nominees and awardees, congratulations again. May God bless you. May God bless Jamaica.
Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. The Prime Minister, he was the keynote speaker at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce 41st annual banquet. Keynote address there by the Most Honorable Prime Minister. Incidentally, someone reached out to me to say that they are commending the Politics Plus podcast, well, the Hello Neighbor show, for bringing this presentation to the people. Well, thank you so much. That's what we do here, and we're happy to have done so to get the people of Jamaica. You know, not many people are invited to annual award banquets like these, but you know, it's important that you know we allow people to hear what the Prime Minister is saying. We did not play the entire speech. We just brought you some parts of it, but I thought it was important, and so we did that and brought it to you. The Prime Minister highlighted that. Well, thank you, Wee Paul. Thank you so much. The Prime Minister highlighted that Jamaica ought to push forward with its development. The Prime Minister actually said that the businesses in Jamaica are saying that they can't find anyone to work, and when he goes into the streets, he sees. Thank you, Blackie. Thank you so much. He sees so many people not working. Member Harry, are you there?
I'm here, Neighbour.
Okay, nice. I'm just testing your microphone. I'm coming to you. The Prime Minister is also suggesting that Jamaica ought to aspire to become a Singapore, and I want to thank the party. I must tell you, I want to thank the Jamaica Labour Party for listening and for saying that they appreciate us for doing this for Jamaica, and I do, because this week on this program we want to enlarge on this discussion of Jamaica becoming Singapore. You see, Adam Smith spoke of the poverty of aspiration. Yes, and that Jamaicans ought to start to dream again. And part of the problem with the 1990s is that people lost their impetus to create, to be great. Yes, and we need to get that back. All right. The idea of Singapore often comes up in discussion because both Dubai and Singapore transformed themselves from relatively small, resource-constrained places into globally recognized economic hubs. Both Dubai and Singapore were, in worse positions than Jamaica, However, the path that they took was not simply about building skyscrapers or attracting foreign investments. It involved decades of institutional reform, long-term planning, and creating a political culture, right, that prioritizes execution. And if you listen to the Prime Minister, you'll realize that he is positioning the minds of the private sector towards the type of Jamaica that he would love to see emerging. Harry,
Yes, Neighbour. Everybody.
Your views on this aspirational vision of the Prime Minister for Jamaica to become a Dubai and a Singapore. You no doubt would have looked at both of these countries. How far are we from that, Harry?
Well, to be honest, Neighbour, we are some way, right, off from it. But in terms of laying the groundwork, we are ahead as to how they did theirs, barring the time, because remember, we're still pretty young and so on. and to take into consideration what we have to build back because of what happened, right? And we have to build back a foundation before we build forward. And for the last decade, we've been building back a proper foundation in order to now build forward. And I phrase it that way because Jamaica went through a financial sector wipeout, and there's no country on Mother Earth that survives without its finance sector, right? Because it is the nucleus of the cell that keeps everything going.
Let me understand where you're going. So you are saying that the bill back process is still on the way.
It's still on the way.
And that bill back emerged out of what we lost in the 90s, or you're speaking about Hurricane Melissa?
No, Hurricane Melissa didn't devastate the financial sector. So it has to be what happened in the 90s, because we were putting something together, Neighbour, from in the 80s, right? Proper structure, proper organization, institutions, specifically from the financial standpoint, because to monitor, maintain, and advance a young independent country, you need to get the financial sector right first.
So you are saying that financial sector has not been built back yet?
It hasn't. We've gone through some series of putting proper infrastructure in place, frameworks, no doubt about it. But it is now one in which we have showed that when what we have built in phases has been tested to the resolute, and we are seeing that tested via COVID, tested via Melissa, tested by other in terms of geopolitical issues. It has been tested, so we know now that the foundation has been placed in a proper way, right? But we still now have to build out even further, because what happens in a Neighbour?
I'd love you to explain that to us a little bit more myself, because I want to understand. So you are saying that the financial sector, still have not recovered from the FinSac era?
No, it hasn't. What has done is that we've improved insecurities and data usage. We've done so, I would say, miraculously, considered what happened. And we've been forced, thankfully, I know many persons won't thank the IMF, but thankfully, we were forced to get it right sooner rather than later, right? So what is happening now, Neighbour, is that because we had to be putting in these basic structures from a foundational level, and then we look at it now, the rest of the world has changed. The financial sector now has to pivot again to build for something more. So digitization, for example, we have to get that right. So what the 90s did was set us back in building the proper foundation. So what we've been doing over the last decade and a half is to put back things that should have been there from the 90s and early 2000s. So what is happening now is that we're getting that right, but the world has shifted again. And we're now playing another catch-up game, Neighbour, because something such as, the digitization of your tax collection, the making businesses, opening businesses faster, right? Because Jamaica has suffered from that, and we're still suffering. We haven't gotten it right just yet, but we're getting there. So much, Neighbour, if you check, and I'd love anybody to fact check me on this, over the last decade, Jamaica has had roughly around 150,000 registered business, which is a
150,000?
150,000 new businesses, neighbors. New business, right? And remember, in the 90s, we lost 44,000 that we knew of. Not just registered, well-known businesses, 44,000 we lost then, which is a ridiculous number because Jamaica was extremely youthful. And
what were some of those businesses? I don't want you to lose your train of thought, but what were some of those businesses we lost? Mostly manufacturing?
Manufacturing and financial companies, which held production, because Jamaica was pushing manufacturing well, right? We had fisheries suffered, agriculture suffered, and of course we know that the financial sector was ripped apart. So the Billy Craigs and those institutions, Neighbour, had to shut down. And one of the other things that persons don't speak of are construction companies too. So if you listen, let me list them again. We know the financial ones, that's a given. Construction is the second. Agriculture is the third, right? And we also had manufacturing. Neighbour, you need all of those sectors for your country to move, for you to produce, for you to export, for you to provide jobs, and for you to also pay any debt you need to pay down. Those four have to be in good shape, and those four crippled. Hence why Jamaica had to build back a foundation. And we did it slow, because I believe in that 2007-2008 period, Neighbour, with the recession, it definitely held it back even slower. Because when the Jamaica Labour Party won, there were some frameworks being put in place by Bruce Golding and his team. But those had to pivot really quickly because of the recession. So we had to be handling a recession with a financial sector that never come back good. So we're juggling several, like the clown in the circus, never juggling several balls.
Yes.
That is what had to happen for the government of that day.
Very interesting.
Asking everyone to repost the live, please.
Very, very interesting. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we're pivoting tonight towards an aspiration of the Prime Minister that Jamaica is to become like Dubai or Singapore. Now, those countries are wealthy countries. Singapore has a per capita GDP of 88,000 United States dollars. In other words, each Singaporean live their life. Standard of living is measured at about 88,000 US dollars per year. You know what Jamaica's is? Below $7,000. So each Singaporean is more than $80,000 wealthier than Jamaicans. And the Prime Minister is saying that we want to become that wealthy. Now, can you imagine Jamaica with a per capita GDP of, let's say, $20,000? If it's even $20,000, the quality of life that Jamaicans will be living, the standard of life here in this country. Can we do it? We have Member Harry online with us, and he's telling us that Jamaica really has not yet recovered from FinSac. The financial sector collapse of the 1990s set us back terribly. And he's opening my eyes tonight because he's saying to us that under the Bruce Golding government, they had to be dealing with a world financial sector collapse. And at the same time, the financial sector in Jamaica at that time was just being rebuilt. Harry is saying to us amazingly that even today, that financial sector has not been built back. So even as we pivot towards the aspiration of a Singapore, what are some of the things that we need to do? How can we get there? Can we achieve it? We're talking about that tonight, and we're going to be talking about it in the days coming. Member Harry?
Yes, Neighbour.
Yes, so member Harry, you shocked me, member, when you say to me that the financial sector has still not recovered from that shock. You shocked me.
Well, Neighbour, the thing about you, when you are in it long enough, right, you get to have a broader scope as to what transpired then, and what is happening now. And that is one of the things we are seeing Jamaica we're doing well, neighbor. Like I said, compared to where we're coming from and what happened, we're doing well enough to say that at some point in time, hoping sooner rather than later, we can achieve a Singapore status. Now, of course, the world is pivoting every single time, and we have to be dealing with that as well. But the truth about it is, when you look at the sector now, neighbor, people will say, yes, it's robust and everything. But if you listen to the budgetary presentation, to what the Minister of Finance said, and also what the Prime Minister has spoken about regarding bureaucracy, in order for us to say the financial sector has now been built again, some of those frameworks has to be removed, because those frameworks are for a time that we're no longer in, right? And those are some of the things that slows us down, not even speaking about building out infrastructure and so on, but those are some of the things that slows down proper movement of financing throughout our economy, right? And because, for example, when you hear that the Minister of Finance, that is, had to now slowly engage the likes of the financial sector to ease the pressure and expand the movement of money from insurance and pension, that tight grip was because of what happened in the 90s. So the financial institutions, while they would want to venture out and pump more money in the privatized areas to help build out Jamaica, because remember, it's a private sector that needs the additional push for these sectors to grow, because that is where the real money is at. Government can't pump these things. The government don't hold that money. The government don't look at. Go ahead, neighbor.
Yes, yeah. The Prime Minister said that that we are almost at full employment, and that the private sector is calling him, saying to him that they can't find workers. But when he goes on the street, he sees a lot of people not working. Seems a little contradictory there. But what is the Prime Minister saying there? Why is there almost full employment in the country, and yet the Prime Minister is saying that he sees people on the road not working? Is it that the people are not trained and are employed in the informal economy?
So there's also that part, neighbor. So there's two parts to it. I mean, there are others, but two specific parts. The certification, and that's something the Prime Minister and his administration has been aggressive on in trying to ensure that people take up the opportunities when it comes on to being certified. Because, neighbor, Jamaica has one of the largest informal sectors in the region. What would have happened in terms of previous government push people to be informal, so people don't want to pay tax, so they go and do a thing on the side. It is more cash intensive, because you're not passing money through accounts, and that's one of the things that has hurt the government also in getting revenues, because in order for people to actually get some form of value from what they've earned, they want to ensure that they take it by cash, so it doesn't pass. So you are saying that the informality of the economy helps those people more than to be part of the formal economy. To be right, because what happened in a neighbor, looking at how many persons lost lives and lose livelihoods in the 90s, and they were of the formal economy. That doesn't give people confidence to be a part of it. So then that's part of the cost of collapse. In other words, psychologically, people don't trust the formal system. They don't. Even the banking system. Neighbor, there was a movement, I believe 4 years ago, where BOJ did some restructuring and advised banks to have simplified what we call KYCs, know your client, documentations and information. They had to reduce those criteria, right? to attract others. So people where you did have accounts as well for some institutions, Neighbour, where you go in and open it with
what a
ID
fascinating
and KRN.
what a fascinating
Right. And what you do is
I am understanding.
You are part of the
yes.
What would happen when we call it simplified KYCs? When you get that account open now, so we found a way by the DOJ to bring in more people, right? I think at one point in the year was over 500,000 accounts from several financial institutions were opened under the simplified KYCs. Now, what that did, Neighbour, yes, you'd be restricted because you don't have all the information we need for you to be passing certain money through and so on. But the simplified was a way of attracting people to say, listen, you can still trust the financial sector, right? So you can still be a part of us. And gradually what that did is, as persons, some people get proof of address, they come in and they update that. And maybe you realize that, but you've met all the criteria, so let's close the simplified account and open a proper account for you. That was a movement by the BOJ, you know, to try and bring back confidence in the sector.
So that it's
right?
not that the people are not employed, is that they are self-employed.
They are. Neighbour, last year alone there were 23,000 registered businesses as well. And anybody can go and check with the company's office. They can fact check me if they feel free to. That was just for last year, 23,000 businesses.
23,000 businesses were registered in Jamaica?
23,000, Neighbour. And when you look at that, the system, because things are also changing, you are finding that persons more likely want to shift to entrepreneurship.
Is the minimum wage a factor here? Where at $17,000 people are still opting to create their own employment, which is not a bad thing at all, because that means that the private sector will have to up wages to attract these people in.
It is, but one of the things that really happen is that persons understand that you can no longer survive on the likes of one salary, Neighbour. Global economy doesn't facilitate that anymore. And what we're seeing is people are asking, and this is where they may be a little contradicting from the Prime Minister,
yes,
is that for the formal economy to attract these people, the incentive has to be greater. So what the reward has to be greater than any cons that are there.
No. To be honest, Harry, what you are saying is that $17,000 is not going to make me stop selling Irish potato and onions, which makes me $6,000 a day.
It definitely won't, Neighbour. But what really is happening is that we have to foster now, Neighbour, where I want to classify it somewhat like a 9 to 5 so persons can understand, where you can have the person in the 9 to 5 but also have the entrepreneurship part. How do we
fix this, Harry? Because if we don't do that, then we are going to see the importation of labor.
We will, Neighbour, but what is happening is that part of the certification, right, will help reduce the informal sector. Here's why. Persons, apart from what happened with the finance and so on in FinSac in the 90s, persons have also not matriculated to certification in Jamaica. Neighbour, if we look at it and see how many unskilled, they are good at what they do. They're good, but they aren't certified, and these businesses require you to be certified. There are certain qualifications you need, and until you could know it exceptionally good, if you don't have the certification, the piece of paper, what people think don't valuable, that piece of paper, Neighbour, is what gets more than just a foot in. It puts you into the position, and Jamaicans for a while did not take that seriously. A man we learn the trade, mechanic, plumbing, whatever, for years and never ever get a certification.
And yet he's very good. And yet he's very good at it.
Your neighborhood plumber, mechanic, and all of that, neighbor. You know, one of the things why they can't charge a lot.
Oh,
it's because they don't have that certification, and if they have the certification, you can command more.
Yes, you know, I have a relative of mine in Barbados, and you can't get a job in Barbados to build. You have to hide without certification. I mean, nobody's going to employ you.
And that is the culture we have to get developed at a rapid scale. Sadly, it has to be faster than what we really want it to be. But that is critical. That is key. Neighbor, we are short of persons who are capable and have the capacity to do the job. What we failed in, and this is from government standpoint before coming up.
Yes.
We failed to get these people in the formal education part and to be certified. I had a conversation about a week or two ago, neighbor, where persons look in terms of mechanical engineering and so on from high school, but they were never ever taught as to what it could have afforded them if they continued it going to another level. So they have it in terms of diploma from a high school, but there was a gap where they were nurtured to continue. So you get the certification from high school, but you never get pushed.
Okay.
Beyond that.
Yes. So get me to understand then Harry. The country is almost at full employment, but the Prime Minister is saying that there are people on the streets and that they are not working. So you are saying they are working. In other words, they are doing their own thing, and that is why they are on the street.
Yeah.
Is it that the government's own social safety net is reaching these people and alleviating their economic needs?
To a great extent, yes, neighbor. To a great extent, but here's the thing. The Prime Minister and his administration in this term has to get the people believing in trusting the system again.
And you are saying that low trust came out of the 90s where the system failed. So the people said, not going back in it.
That is correct.
In other words, if I lose my job, just get up.
Have advanced these people.
Yeah, go ahead,
Harry. The system that should have advanced these people, neighbor, has failed them. Right? And we've said it on this show before. In fact, I wouldn't want to say it just failed them. It took advantage of their ignorance as to how that system should have worked. Right? And that has caused the problem that we have today. Because the issue we're looking at now is the quality of job that people need to get, but they aren't certified.
Now, how large do you think is the quote unquote informal economy? How large is it?
Well, neighbor, I strongly believe it is just as big as the formal, if not a little bit more, because here's why.
Not in terms of value, though.
No, not in terms of, well, it's hard to know the value. Here's why. There's no bookkeeping when it comes down to that, neighbor, right? If you look at, for example, agriculture, what we know of it and what it produces from the formal part, just by the one in which the informal may match it. Because I can tell you, if you look, neighbor, you go coronation and you see that all those persons aren't necessarily a part of the formal sector. And they may make good money. But that money in itself doesn't come through where the government may ever benefit from it directly. And also it keeps, not being in the formal sector, also keep these persons who may have good business ideas, who may have pretty decent production, to formalize themselves and expand. And case in point, when you look at where our tourism is, and that's going to be a major factor, it's going to actually get a big boost in the next several years to come. agriculture itself, I've said it here, cannot feed Jamaica. We can't produce enough to feed Jamaica and to supply the tourism sector that we have.
Hold on. We can't, or we are not.
We can't.
We cannot.
The demand is greater than the supply, even if we go at full capacity.
You are saying to me that Jamaica can't produce enough Irish potato to feed ourselves and tomato, and we cannot.
We can't.
But then Harry, when you hear of idle hands and idle land, what if we industrialize farming and get you are saying to me that we can't produce enough food here to feed our people and supply the huh?
This is how it goes. The tourism sector, and I love to always tell people, say, don't think of the tourism as brick and mortar. Don't think of just hotels, right? You have to think beyond, because tourism takes into consideration room and boarding, takes into consideration transportation, takes into consideration entertainment, and entertainment is a little bit different from food, right? No, because Devon House is a part of our tourism in a neighbor.
Yes.
And if you look at the businesses that are there, a lot of their produce aren't necessarily from locals. So what we have to do is build the linkage, because that's a problem, to get these people in the formal part. And I'm doubling down on agriculture itself.
Yes. But I want you to tell Jamaicans, why is it though that we can't produce enough scallion and tomato and onions? We don't have the capacity to do it.
Here's why we can't. One of the things, in order to get to it, neighbor, we have to apply and employ a lot more technology in our agriculture sector. That's going to take us quite a while. Because if you look at our farmers, look at the age that is their neighbor. You don't really see much young people, and they're the ones who would have a better grasp of the. So
the man with him offer not going to cut it.
Can't cut it, neighbor, because tourism sector requires you to produce.
Especially if you're going to grow. Especially if you're going to grow that sector.
Especially, neighbor, and that is why it starts now from the ground up, from the grassroots. Young people that are there, you have to attract them to it, because like I said, they have the capacity and the capability. They're in the know. So your hydroponics, you're putting in your solar to run certain things, because you have to make it cheaper for them to do so as well, right? And to move away from just thinking of make we dig the ground, you can't. If you're using that method, you cannot.
So at this point, our hotels, our all-inclusives are purchasing from overseas more than from locals. In other words, the
consistently. Consistently, yeah.
The supplies to the all-inclusive, not local.
Not local, neighbor. And how you do it. All right, and this was something Audley Shaw wanted to do for a very long time, was try to have community farming done, meaning farmers in a specific area can produce one crop. Let's say, for example, St. Elizabeth, known for scallion and so on, seasoning. They would focus on producing that and have specific suppliers. So if you look at boutique hotels who are smaller, so these farmers could produce for them, maybe not the quantity at the time when they want it, because when we have our peak tourism period arrivals, which is from December 3rd coming straight to, let's say, the second week of March,
yes,
you're going to need production quickly. And because we aren't unified in that way, it failed, because here's the thing that's happening. Everybody wants to sell them produce at a different cost. But nobody realized that if you hold the market, and the market here is, let's say, 10 boutique hotels, that's constant supply, that's constant cash flow for you. But the Jamaica don't have that unification in a lot of things, and it causes a great, what we call, leakage in the linkage that should be there. And that is why so much of the tourism money would have left Jamaica, because now these businesses need to outsource, to import the certain melons and fruits and so on that they need regularly. So we have to look at it collectively to try and produce for these areas. And that is how create movement of cash flow. You retain the money, because now these hoteliers and so on, boutique hotels, villas and whatever, have reduced their import bill, because locally they have a production and supplier that is consistent.
Yes.
They tried it.
And that consistency is key, Harry, because I might guess one pineapple in the morning. You can't go tell me say you don't have none.
Exactly.
And eggs.
And that is why I said the minister tried to implore and to find ways for persons to actually do it, but they refused.
That's when he was Minister of Agriculture.
No, that was actually Ardley Shaw.
When he was Minister of Agriculture.
Yeah, right? And when you look at it now, neighbor, people are always saying, well, we have so much food, we go dash away. Yeah, you dash it away because you don't produce it consistently. That's one bulk. And it is an inconsistent production. But these businesses, I'm going to move away to call them hotels, these businesses, neighbor, requires consistency in terms of quality and production. Jamaicans, because we do so much things half-heartedly, neighbor, things that can push us even further. Because here's the thing, everybody loves it. We need to export more. No. If you can embody the eat what we grow what we eat thing, neighbor, but produce it. If we produce more to meet the current capacity, I mean, like I said, we can't meet it, but if we get close enough, produce as much as we can, we ensure that the government don't need a certain level of foreign exchange to go and buy certain goods and services from overseas to provide us with. That is how you start to eat away and improve not just the GDP, but also in terms of the per capita for the persons, their earning capacity, because that money is now moving around within the local economy. And when I say local economy, I'm speaking communities that these things are produced. That is the ripple effect.
Yeah.
But we can't get it right because we're blocked because of what happened in the 90s. The framework and system that should have helped these people achieve that hurt them. And as such, they rather take the country bus. At the time, it was Tata bus, probably in your time, neighbor. Left from where Senti, come a Coronation Market and sell it there. And whatever don't sell, I just saw.
Oh my God.
But it's a mind shift and I have to move away. That's why I mentioned the digitization, right? The improving technology, use, meaning the implementation and use of it, and also the certification, neighbor. Because understand this, if you have, let's say the community farming, for example, all of us here, Politics Plus Network, we're producing 2 crops. We're producing potato and yam. Let's say those 2. What will happen now is that because we're growing, we're using all our land that we have here, neighbor. Whether I want to be hydroponics, robotics, and so on, you know what that does now as we advance? We're going to probably have to hire somebody in the tech field with them software and so on. Remember, I know we're just farmers, neighbor, but you now understand that it's going to produce jobs for others in STEM, because our systems that we're doing now have to be maintained. And you grow these things out. So we're just the handyman who have the production and we're doing it. But these systems that we're using, one, we have to be certified about it. I studied the prairie farmers in Canada, neighbor. And those farmers for wheat dictate their price. They have the whole association. So when any hanky-panky happen, they get to know, say, okay, this is our supply. You have to give us 10 cents, and it is not malicious that they're doing. When they have any natural disasters or, disease, whatever is spreading around that may affect their production, they are under a unified body, and that body acts as a voice. I mean, not just a little union neighbor. We're talking something official that speaks on their behalf, that negotiate with the government and work well. That study was exceptional, and I've been learning that from grade 10. And I wondered why Jamaica don't have something similar. And you need these framework to be in place so your farmers are more educated. They keep with the trends globally. Not just how you go dig one whole crossway and farm one next year. No. Get with the times, and it's going to take some time, yes, but you have to advance yourself. Stop thinking of farming as just feed myself and go sell to something and be sustainable in that way. You have to think of everything as a business, how you can grow, how you can maintain, how you can advance yourself. And all of that, neighbor, is what pushes those farmers. And it's not just about the land. Forget about the land itself. It is improving the natural resource that you have, which is the human resource. Because if that improves, it means you're now certified. It means you understand how to improve your very own production. And you also now see areas that you can go and supply. And if everybody's doing that as a collective, we can reduce that bill, reduce the debt, increase production, and we'll see everything start to click. Because like I said, we have a leakage problem while we're spending so much money, and it can be fixed.
Fantastic. Astute, you want to join? You had a comment?
No, Neighbour, I was just echoing the points of Harry in terms of you were asking him about the farming capacity as well as what would create an increase in production in our society now that the 90s would have decimated the agricultural sector, the financial sector, the manufacturing sector, as well as the intellectual capital of our people. Because remember, the brightest among us also left.
Yes.
And that created a significant brain drain in Jamaica.
Yes, and you don't build that back overnight.
No, neighbor. And I wanted to point out, because I saw you had asked, and I also saw in the comments where people were saying that why they think that we have the capacity to produce for ourselves as a nation, to feed our nation. But what we have to take into consideration is that weather patterns have changed. That is why now you have more greenhouses and more hydroponic farms and more automated growth operations taking place. But Jamaica cannot take advantage of that opportunity because that is a significant investment. We have to put money. We have to be strategic in where we spend our money. So, say for example, as an example, we have $6.7 billion US to spend in a reconstruction initiative. We have to now decide what is it that is most imperative. What is it that is most important for us to put our money in? Are we going to do education? Are we going to continue building homes? Are we going to do the smart cities? Are we going to increase or decrease the cost of production, which is our electricity or energy bill? If we had not experienced the tumultuous, destructive force of the People's National Party in the 90s, we could have taken up the opportunity to now invest more into technology, into robotics and automation, to ensure that we can control the conditions under which we grow.
There are some people, though, Astute, who would say to you, okay, they were devastating, they were bad, but we've been more than 20 years. Why can't we do it now? are you saying to me that recovery is taking so long because the devastation was so bad?
It is twofold. It is not just the devastation, yes. So to answer your question, yes, but it's not only that. Remember, we experienced, so from mid-90s to 2007, 2007 would have represented the first year of the Jamaica Labour Party's rule after the financial collapse. But by 2008, we would have experienced a global recession. After that global recession, by the time we reached 2020, we experienced COVID. And then even after COVID, we experienced one Category 3 hurricane in Beryl and one Category 5. They're saying it's actually off the scale where Melissa is concerned. So I am saying it, yes, the 90s significantly affected us, that even today we are still reeling, but we also, because of those bad and poor management, because of the poor management of our country's affairs, we know we're faced with like what is called, we would call a double whammy, because now we have a global recession. So first we have a local domestic crisis, then shortly on the heels of that, a global recession, then shortly after that, a COVID-19, a pandemic of epic proportions. So those things affected us. Had we managed properly in the 90s, then when the global recession came, we would have been able to better absorb those.
Like we are doing now after Melissa.
Yes, neighbor. Exactly. So that is, we cannot forget, because remember, the findings said that approximately 50% of GDP was wiped out as a result of the actions of the 90s, the financial crisis of the 90s, the local financial crisis of the 90s. You don't get back. I remember we did not have our ratings in the international scene. We were bad because remember we were seen as one of the most indebted countries, the murder capital of the world. No one wants to invest in that. But because now our position in the global market space, where we've improved, we have gotten $6.7 billion US dollars, and we have $6.5 billion US dollars in our NIR. So you see how those things work hand in hand, neighbor?
Yeah, hold on there for me, Astute. Fascinating. Don't move at all. I'm coming back to you there, member Harry. I choose Jamaica. Jump in. Let me hear what you have to say.
Yeah, good night, neighbor.
Good night.
I quickly want to agree with member Harry, as you call him, that he spoke about the mindset, and it is something that I've been talking about on several lives that I've been on. Jamaica requires a delicate touch, but someone with an assertive fist. And we have seen...
Hold on, a delicate touch with an assertive fist.
Yes.
That's almost oxymoronic, sir.
But I have seen where this current government has been making the rounds to put things together, and we have seen the work, and we have seen the fruits and the blossoms. Now, development can only come when the people themselves rather, have to wake up and recognize that this change is needed.
But that don't happen, sir. People don't just get up and recognize that. That requires leadership.
Yes, and I agree with you. Thankfully, the well thinkers are now seeing a different light under this administration, and they have been demonstrating so far that yes, we are ready and we want this change. And
who are the well thinkers you're referring to?
The ones ones who voted. The ones who voted Neighbour, in my opinion, are the well thinkers. Now, I want to make it clear that there's a lot more Jamaicans who have never voted, who are also well thinkers, but they're anti-government, anti-political. They don't see themselves getting involved in the process because development, prosperity cannot be given by the government alone.
You don't think that as we have been exposited that the 90s would have shaken the country to the point where a lot of people don't trust the state or they don't trust institutions, and therefore they have divorced themselves from the process, and that is what is affecting us today too.
Yes, I totally agree, Neighbour, because I remember in the 90s, in the food shortage, the shopkeeper used to hide and sell me sugar when my granny sent me a shop. So I would have understood. Even somebody coming from the PMP family back and front, where I used to jump and chant power, 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 without even understanding what that meant.
So then, are we eternally scarred, or can we break free?
The scar is still there, and beneath the scar, there is still some healing taking place. I agree that the 90s have done a number on us, and I've often heard this new generation say that, boy, that have nothing to do with me because we never born in the 90s. I mean, I have no idea what I talk about. But they need to understand unequivocally that what is happening now is the ripple effect from the 90s, as our colleagues here has mentioned, and it is not going to take a decade to fix, because currently we're experiencing slow growth, and that is because we don't have the necessary infrastructure, the amicable development and the investment in the country. Mark you, government alone do not grow an economy. An economy is a fivefold thing. It has to do with the government over a period of time and years investing the capital and putting in all these things, healthcare, education, roads, all of these necessary infrastructure. For example, there are many who believe that road can yam, but they don't understand the level of economic development. A road, putting in roads because when you drive a road through the heart of Jamaica that is uninhabited, it opened lands for development and for housing and all of that stuff. So all of these things are necessary, and the problem is, that many Jamaicans are not seeing where it is adding up. It doesn't make sense to them, and that is a big problem, Neighbour.
So on the path to Jamaica on the road to Singapore is going to, you are saying to me, it's going to be not an easy path.
It is not going to be an easy path, because a lot of the things that needs to be done, while the government has power, they will have to seek consensus. All right, take for example, the road to Republic.
Yes, and that one is been hampered by the political tribalism.
Exactly, and remember, it was Mark Golden himself who got up. I think it was in COVID time when they had the shields before them in Parliament. And I remember when King Charles, he was Prince then, went to Barbados to set them free officially.
Yes. So I choose Jamaica. Aspiration, yes. And without vision, a people perish. The Prime Minister has placed before the country this aspiration. There are several layers that we are not going to be able to break down in this one show. The matter of political loyalty, the technocracy, the bureaucracy, the system of education, the values and all of that. But In terms of a timeline, how far out do you think we are?
There's a lot of work that has to be done. What the current government has done for the past two terms is they have been laying the foundation. I want you to think of Jamaica now as a piece of land that is ripe for development.
Sorry to cut you, but they are laying the foundation. Then what the dickens were the other governments since independence doing?
But neighbor, the question is, all of those taxes that they have collected over the years, because remember, the issue is money. I remember there was a lot of roads that started that didn't finish. Even where the Morant Bay Urban Center is now, they had allocated the money according to them. And they said that when it didn't materialize, they said it was due to exuberance. So all of those taxes that has been collected for the past 18 and a half years, and even more than that, because when I did my research, the other side, the PMP would have had this country longer than the JLP.
Well, they're both equal now, but the fact is, you are saying that right. The government here is laying the foundation. So no foundation ended there before?
No foundation was the neighbor. In 2026, when the government is spending billions of dollars, now water is life. Water is life. And let us lay the raw facts bare out there. There's still communities. There's still
hold on, my son. Please.
Hold on. We are putting in water infrastructure, billions of dollars. We have roads that have lost their useful life. We have Jamaica have over 27,000 kilometers of road. Now, if you should add up, one truck of asphalt is $1.something million. And if you're going to give 6 inches of asphalt, then one truck cannot stretch too far. So when you look at all of that, how can a government fix almost, all right, take out the highways that are built. Let's say 25,000 kilometers that needs to be fixed. How? That will cost trillions of dollars, neighbor. If the government should take on a massive water infrastructure development, it would take billions, if not trillions of dollars. And since independence in 1962, with all the taxes that have been collected, with all the work that previous governments have done, people are still battling for water. Street lights, roads haven't fixed in 60 years, 50 years. So that is why I said, think of Jamaica now as a fertile piece of land. And this government have used bulldozer to prepare it, and they are now driving piles. Because when you put piles up to 100 feet, 60 feet under the ground, you're making way to put up solid infrastructure. And Jamaica now, if you should look at Jamaica, and especially with NARA, in a while, Jamaica will be filled with scaffolding. Every drive you drive around the country, you're going to see scaffolding, zinc fences, to cover construction sites. NARA is the ambulance, neighbor, that will be carrying the projects. Now, when you hear an ambulance are coming, you have to give it way. That is why we need NARA. So when you hear NARA put on the siren and driving around Jamaica, from parish to parish, dropping off all these projects at various sites, that is where we're now going to see the real work beginning. And then it is not just about infrastructure, neighbor. We have the matter of efficiency, bureaucracy, technocracy. I always hear you talk about that one. Where our bureaucracy now is literally stifling us as Jamaicans. it is holding us at our neck. When you think about a bridge that takes 5 years to get done, that should have been delivered in a year or less, provided the manpower and capacity. All of those things have to be taken into consideration. Lest Jamaicans forget where we are coming from and what we didn't have before this government came into power. And that is the problem. We are very short-sighted. We are very short-sighted to some extent.
Yeah.
And our memories are short.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Gonna have to leave it there.
Yes.
Take care of yourself. All right. We've got oh Lord God, I'm itching to go back to Harry and to Astute. We have Honeybee and we have Joshua. Hello, Joshua.
Greetings, sir. How are you?
Not bad at all. How are you?
I am well by God's grace. First of all, good evening to you and the entire panel, as well as everyone else who is listening and will listen later. I want to speak a little bit faster than I normally would tonight because I have so much that I want to say in a short space of time.
Oh yes, we have limited time. Yes.
Right. All right. So I was listening to Harry giving his disposition. Right, and one of the things he mentioned about can't produce enough, and a couple of things that I noticed that he had omitted, and I'm cognizant that he didn't have a lot of time, is that in terms of one of the mitigants to not being able to produce what we need is the size of the economy versus the need. Right, so whilst there is a need that exists, what is really the size of the economy? Because and one of the factors that is going to impact that also is the initial setup cost, right? Having spent, because if you're going to now be using large farmers as opposed to going for small farmers, what you're going to be doing is eating up laborers.
Yes.
These laborers would have been working for the small farmers, and by extension, you're going to be driving the small farmers out of business, right? So that is going to have an impact on the small farmers' ability to continue in business. In addition to that, now having spent billions or millions on equipment and setup costs and all of these things, who is going to take the excess from me, right? Can I afford to recoup all that I spent and all of these things? So those things has to be factored in. So we move on now. When we heard the businesses. I made some notations here, the informal versus formal economy. And one of the mitigants to business, a couple of mitigants to businesses going into the formal economy, it's a governance versus cultural, and it's not just cultural, there are a number of things. So the cultural is the hustling and informalities that we tend to practice as a nation, right? Right, so that's part of the cultural thing. We love to just buy a bottle of water and we go to the train line, and even when we're making 10, 15 grand a day, $30,000 a day, we don't need to be registering because we don't make my money. So that is a cultural thing. The other thing is the fear of the 90s and the 70s. I think Harry mentioned the 90s, but he never went back to the 70s. Right, and I guess for proper reasons, he was not around at that time and may not understand it as much, except that he would read. Then, in addition to that, the large business need to keep the system that way, because when you have less trained persons within the system, then it therefore means that it would down to cheaper labor.
Yes, thanks, gatekeeper.
And as a result, right. So it's going to provide much cheaper labor because they are less qualified, so you can use that as an excuse not to pay them more. And then another reason is tax evasion. So it redounds to informality. It happens here in the States. I know of a couple of businesses that is doing their thing under the table because they're hiding the taxes, right? And then last but not least, it's a lack of education. Why persons did not get trained the way they should, because it was not pushed, it was not seen as being important. by the previous administration. And in addition to that, we have a final thing, elitism in Jamaica. Whereas in the States, if you're in construction, whether it be from a managerial level or you work on it as a skilled person, you're highly respected. In Jamaica, if you're in construction, most of the time persons don't want to have anything to do with you. In the States, I can tell you, irrespective of which job the person does, they don't mind being involved with someone in construction. Highly educated university graduates are in construction field working as skilled persons, right? So that's another thing. One other thing that was mentioned about the economy. Right, so I wrote about the devastation and impact on growth. You know, where we are now in relation to where we should have been, right? But and that is what Astute was talking about earlier, and Harry. Where are we now in relation to where we should have been? And that is why it requires so much more to do than where we should have been and where we are going. And last but not least, as it relates to that element, is another thing I wrote down here, which is, we have to look at the opportunities lost first and foremost in order to get the economy where we want it. Then we have to stabilize first and foremost. Then we have to get to the rebuilding process. And then we have to begin to regain the losses that we had lost. We had to regain the things that we had lost along the journey in order to get the economy. So yes, I heard Astute, I heard Harry commentated on it, but in order, this is part of the reason it's going to take so much more. One other thing I want to throw out there, and I said it to Chops and a few others, is that we have to begin to promote even university graduates to begin to get some form of skill training, because when NARA gets really gets going, we're going to have a severe labor shortage and skill shortages in Jamaica. And for all of us to benefit from it, we must be ready to meet the changing Jamaica. Jamaica is not going to be as blue collar as it was before. It's going to be labor centric, and we have to be prepared for it.
Okay, what's your view on us achieving a Singaporean, even remotely so, Joshua? Where are we now on that path? Do you think that we will live to see that?
I believe that it's possible. Whether or not it ends up being so, it depends on two factors. It should have been three, but I have omitted one. I was going to mention the participation of the opposition, but we have to be willing to leave them out of it. We realize that they have no desire to cooperate with us, right, as a nation. Their desire is to be in power, and power even at the expense of burning down Jamaica to the ground, right? So the other two elements is how hard is the government willing to push back against the opposition, their schemes and their lies in trying to get the job done, right? And we have to be willing to bypass them if needs be as a government, right? And I think that it will have to come to that, bypass them. So that's one. And two, the people have to understand that that this is for them, right? And a greater Jamaica benefits everyone. Right? It doesn't just benefit who is in power and who is reigning, but it benefits all of us, and we cannot afford to change government at this time because it will not be to the greater good of Jamaica. And if we can achieve those things, last but not least, I didn't mention this, there has to be a massive continuous education process. We can't leave it to chance that people just understand and leave it right there. We have to educate them using all forums necessary, all means necessary where possible, without breaking any laws or being immoral or unethical about it. And in so doing, if we can achieve these, then most certainly we are on our journey to achieving Singaporean status.
Well, thank you so much, Joshua. Take care of yourself.
No problem, sir. Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right. Honeybee, I'm giving you 5 minutes.
Hello, Neighbour. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening to you.
Neighbour, in order to achieve what the Prime Minister wants, it has a lot to do with the mindset of the people. The people mindset has to change, and we have to understand that if you want Jamaica to develop in a first world status, is that we have to have trained people to do certain jobs. And the job, you can't want I pay if you're unskilled and untrained. And we have to let the people understand that. For instance, if you are running a business, Neighbour, and you don't have to employ someone to do something in every sector of your business, you save money. So it's just like when you have a child going to school and they get a group project. And you said, I always say to my children, do everything. And if someone falls short, you can fill that in so that you can get maximum grades. And that's where we are. The people mindset have to change, and we have to understand that everybody, government and the people, has to be on one accord. If the farmers have to start to believe that if they produce more, they will have a market. And they are very doubtful in that. They are facing hurricane conditions. And that's one of the things they said, the more they put in, they're still not making back what they put in. So that's a factor that you have to factor in, the situation where we have to produce, we have to learn to feed ourselves first of all. And if we can produce in order to eat what we grow and grow what we eat, then we save and import and export. So we don't have to import as much foods that we need for the hotels and stuff like that. But we have to have the people mindset change and for them to believe that it's a consensus between all of us in order to grow Jamaica to where it's supposed to be. And that's my 2 cents.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. TV man. How are you?
Not too bad, man. I'm listening, They're listening, neighbor.
Yes.
I'm listening, because we learn as we go along, We learn as we go along.
By the way, I see Pelucid Perry in the chat. Mr. Perry, you did a tape about golden certified wholeness is not. This should not be. It is libelous. It is a libelous broadcast. If it is not libelous, then it is riddled with inaccuracies and lies. And I think Mr. Perry, you should do better than that, man. I expect better from you. And Mr. Perry, I was going to pick it apart yesterday, but I said, I won't go do it. I'm not going to do it because, I don't want to, your piece, and I'm giving you a little bit of promotion here, is a dishonest piece. You are not a commentator, Mr. Perry. You're a propagandist, because I expect you to go where the facts take you. Yes? Don't do that, man. Don't do that. And I don't want to distract from the presentation tonight. You're not to do that. And there's a dangerous thing that is happening in Jamaica, where we ask questions. Could I ask a question? Is it true that Pelucid Perry was seen coming through the man's window with a flat screen? Is it true? Is it true that Pelucid Perry was seen taking away the keyboard from the church and selling it? Is that true? Or it is alleged? It's alleged that Mr. Perry took away his church brother's wife. Is that Is that a fair question to ask? No, man. You don't ask questions without facts. You're just asking questions for what are the bases for the questions? One must stop it, man. One must stop it. And I'm going to invite you, Mr. Perry, to discuss this when Mr. Harry is here. Good night to you. Anyway, yes, TV man, back to you.
Yes, I'm going to say to you, neighbor. This country, neighbor, as what is going on now, I don't know. Neighbor, sometimes I sit, even this evening I was driving, coming home, and I look on the whole fact of it. I have to say to myself, neighbor, Jamaica people years, I'm 54-year-old going 55 now, and I hear Jamaica people see it from their own eyes, saying, nothing good can done to this country. Jamaica done, and the world come, and the Bible come to a close, and because the Bible come to a close, all will happen now, half it happen, so man of it dead, more seller, more buyer, and all of them stupid things them start cast up before even Bible reach where to reach. And neighbor, one of our own pitney, when I look into it, one of our own child, when I sit down and hear a man like Ingram, the same period you're talking about, one named Mikey, some other one there, sit down and try to peel away leave and put things from the Prime Minister and put things. I'm saying to myself, if one of those man today have a child that willing to step up as a politician and form the Jamaica Labour Party and ruling it as it should be ruled by, like Andrew Holness is ruling it now, and running the country, would these same people criticize their own child like this? Would they talk against their own child like this? Or would they join in consensus with their own child to get support to help run the country? They know, these are not done. And this is what surprised me or put me into something. These people are not done. See the one of a Portland, even the one of a Portland. These people are not done. They can read and write well. And when we are going to school, we start education was for good things. But people are using education as weaponizing now. Weaponizing education against the same people who don't have it, or the people who have the knowledge about what they're talking about. They come out and them just spread propaganda and carry on, and I'm saying, how could you stand aside and do it? That's why God have this sometimes. When God, you see God really make some choice sometimes. God know him and no man. You think God full man? God know him and no date no neighbor. God know him and no man. God know who I'm have to put this opposition one side and say, still don't over this man. I bet you rule.
Is God put him this up?
Yeah, man. God put them over this man. Rule your own ashes, man. When you sit down with your neighbor, these people are the same when you're talking about, they're not done, sir. Listen to man when they talk. They're not done. And when you ask them the question, you want to ask one question yesterday. Show the question we asked. Show me 5 something Andrew Holness implement. Since he coming about, he might talk something like the NIS, like things like those he might talk about. No.
By the way, hold on, sir. I think there is something happening to the program that the box just keep pulling up. No, I think somebody hacked this page and just pulling up this box. It's almost like the thing that I'm to sit. I'm going to sit here until 1 o'clock at this rate. No, if there's a hack on it, hacker, take off the hack, because I'm not sitting here all night. So it's 11 minutes to 10 o'clock, and as the box go down, so it full up back. I want one.
Yes, man.
I want one, sir. You want one buckler cream soda inside here, so if you flash it, You have to go spin my road. But you know what? Light one can't go like can't give me a year because bun them out. It's crazy, sir. What is happening here? Yeah?
Moderate and conscious things talking about your neighbor. moderate. You think they're done for them and listen? Who listening to it, they're not done. They know what we're talking about. But by tomorrow morning, try to pick away something to peel away. Can you imagine? You don't want something and you come out with your own word and say you try to stop it. At the same time, you go there tell the people them stay. Me about easy. And you don't want it. And you are going to tell the people.
Hold on, I've gone into the settings and I've turned off this thing that says automatic adding, and the people and it is still adding. So I don't know what is happening, sir. Anyway, hold on there, TV man. Hold on, Mr. Francis.
Good night. How you doing?
I'm not bad at all. Go ahead.
Good night to all your panelists and all those listeners. Can you ask those that are not speaking up right now to mute their mics, please?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Mr. Neighbour. Tonight I'm just passing through now and I'm craving your indulgence. I just want a minute or two to promote an event that I'm organizing for Thursday.
You'd have to go pay the moderator to do that.
All right. Tell the moderator to send the invoice.
All right. Caroline, please send Mr. Dorland the invoice. Go ahead.
All right, folks. Bear with me here. Happy hour every Thursday night, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Reduced prices on drinks and eats. Visit the website at www.diligententertainment.com or follow on social media at Diligent Entertainment. This is a Diligent Entertainment production. Don't miss it. Yeah, that's it. The folks who would like more information could visit the website. The website is Diligent, DILIGENT.com. DiligentENT.com. And a lot more details are there. And those of you who are in Jamaica and can pass by Thursday night, I'd love to see you in the place.
So you are having a function on Thursday night, this Thursday?
Yeah, and every Thursday after that.
All right. What is it? What is the name of it?
We call it Thursday nights at Footprints.
Thursday night at Footprints.
At Footprints Cafe.
Footprints Cafe. And where is Footprints Cafe?
Footprints is at 5 Belmont Road.
Oh, wow.
Kingston 5.
Yeah. And you're gonna have
it's right beside the tallest building on Belmont Road.
Right. Footprints
to Oxford Road.
And you are going to be there, sir. You are hosting the function, eh?
Yes.
Wow.
That's right. Next to Cygnus building.
Yes.
Okay.
Cygnus is 1 and it's 5.
Okay.
Well.
Yeah.
All the best with it, sir.
Yeah, but it's a good setting. You can try that out. It's a good space.
What happens there?
You mean what happens there?
Yes. What type of function it is?
Basically explain it. But it's entertainment. It's music.
Okay. All right. Well,
we're billing it as the ultimate musical experience. We believe that the entertainment scene, the music world, has kind of gone off course. And as a veteran in the entertainment business, You know, man, who I have years of experience. I go way back. I am coming back from the days when Gemini used to play at Belmont Road.
Got you. Well,
So
we're encouraging
I am coming back.
Yeah.
I'm coming back from the time when we used to have the House of Leo on a Sunday. I don't know the kind of music that used to play.
Respect, Darlan. I hope that the people will support you.
I would love that.
Respect yourself, sir. Take care of yourself, man.
You too.
All right. Fantastic.
I see you going great guns with your platform.
Well, thank you, sir.
You're going great guns. Yeah, I don't think nobody is hacking it. I think the people want to tune in to rational reasoning.
Oh, wow.
That's what you're offering.
Rational reasoning.
Yes.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. That's indulging me.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Great. All right. You know, guys. It's actually 4 minutes to 10 o'clock. I'm going to have to bring the curtains down. But before I do that, so Harry.
Yes, neighbor.
Harry, we will have to pick this back up tomorrow. But just to re-stimulate our listeners in terms of what direction we are taking this week here. The fact is that if we are to go forward, we have to spend some time looking back. And looking back for us, Harry, is not a very pleasant sight. As a matter of fact, you are suggesting that the looking back is kind of preventing us, or that which happened in the past has prevented us from being where we are today. But nonetheless, Harry, the aspiration of becoming a Singapore is one that the country needs to start to talk about, correct?
Definitely, neighbor. Definitely. Because we would have broken down in terms of, because you've done a few pieces before in terms of shows regarding Singapore. And I want to reiterate to the person that Singapore achieved what they have because they focused on a few things. All right. And I won't go in detail of them. But for each one I mentioned, neighbor, you can tell me if Jamaica has ticked that box or is ticking it. Right? We look at the likes of strategic investments where the country became business friendly, so there are business friendly policies, it's stable, and there are incentives for businesses, right? Has Jamaica ticked that box or is doing that?
Well, I think we are.
Okay. We look at infrastructure and logistics. Singapore has developed, I believe, the airport or the logistics area is called Shanghai.
Shanghai, yes.
That they developed, right? They developed over several years and an exceptional job. Now, Jamaica has the third natural largest bay in the world, and that's the Kingston Harbor, right? And that is also being expanded. So we can simply say Jamaica is also slowly ticking that box. Investments are coming into the Kingston walls to attract us as a hub, right? And of course, infrastructure, we see what's happening with that. This being decisive in governance is the other one, neighbor, right? And anti-corruption. Let's put it that way. We've not seen in this government scandals after scandal, corruptions after corruption that we've known of under the People's National Party in the past, right? And that is key and critical to how we will get to Singapore state, because they have significantly reduced it. They've improved transparency in their government. They have, of course, anti-corruption laws, and is making doing business less corrupt for Jamaica. So we're heading there again. Social stability. I would coin it to say that that's what it is. I know the Paragate situation and incident has come up, and a lot more of that will happen neighbor where persons may have to be relocated. But why I say social stability is that we are putting people in areas now that they should have been in. We're moving them from areas, whether that is due to certain livelihood, whether we're running to the sea for fishing and so on, that is improper, that does not advance them. And as such, we're seeing better improvement in housing overall. And we'll see that happening significantly over the next 3 years. So that takes care of what I would call social stability for people. And the value chain. This one for me is critical, neighbor. And this is why I went back. We have to look back to go forward. Singapore is what it is today because they add greater value. So the type of jobs that have been created after the foundation was formed, right? So everything that I've mentioned before, the first four, led to adding in the value chain. What that means is there's high value added sectors in Singapore, neighbor, like electronics, pharmaceuticals, finance, and so on, right? Jamaica will have to get to this stage, and the moment we hit jackpot in this area, hence the Prime Minister is building about 6 STEM schools over the next 5 years. We should have them, right? That is going to improve Jamaica's likelihood of going into a higher value chain where the quality of jobs, the what you attract is more, right? And that is how Singapore achieved it, those 5 things. And I said I won't break them down tonight because we don't have the time to do so. But those areas, neighbor, are what Jamaica will have to continue to develop and also to continue to tick them off as we go along, because we've seen it happen. But it's harder for us now with everything that we're facing, geopolitical issues, trying to recover from the recession. We were dealing with burial that happened year before last. We're dealing with the category 5. All together, neighbor, and COVID, because we still haven't recovered from COVID, really. Many countries haven't globally. But all the while, we have to be juggling all those things.
Yeah, but Harry, if there is finally, Harry, if there is any government who can do it, it is this government. To what extent do you think the type of politics that we practice is going to be an inhibitor to us achieving this, considering that Singapore, for large part, its opposition was kind of aligned to the prospects of the government. In our case, we have an adversarial type of politics, obstructionist even, very, very tribal. To what extent is our politics going to allow this to happen or not happen?
Well, we're seeing where that is changing. I just think the current opposition is rebellious against what the people are saying, and not far too long, neighbor, I believe they will have to conform, because once the people speaks again, because I don't think the opposition has want to accept what the people have said, and the people have spoke 3 times. And if they continue this way, the people may have to speak 4th and 5th time. No, this is not me calling to say, yes, the current administration is entitled to win the 4th term or to get a 5th term. I'm saying the people has to speak again. And based on what they utter, it just might be the fact that they want this to continue. They're seeing the improvement that generations before them didn't get or were robbed. They're also seeing their dreams and aspirations being achieved through the frameworks being built by this government. And if Jamaica changes the culture where we start to reward good work, because we've seen where the culture developed in previous government pushed that aside. But I think if the people of Jamaica rewards the good work again, we will see where the People's National Party may have to change or die. And it could be a slow death as it stands right now.
So you don't think that the current opposition their posture is going to be an inhibitor to the push forward to this aspiration?
I think it's more than just a posture for them, Neighbour. They are acting out already. They are showing everything. It's like a last ditch attempt to try and be relevant and to kind of say they are part of the process. And I think as more people understand what that stance from the opposition is, they will reject them, just as how the People's National Party is rejecting the advancement, because everything that they reject pivots to improve people's lives. Once the people realize that it's exactly what is happening, they will then have to reject the People's National Party. And in doing so, Neighbour, whether they want to show a gesture of it or whether they want to continue to be rebellious, they will have to yield to what the people speak. And like I said again, if the people speak for a fourth term by rewarding good governance, then the People's National Party will have to yield again. They will have to change or find a new identity that is in accordance with what the people wants. But I know for now, I can tell you for the next 3 years, leading into 2027, or 2026, 2027 to 2028, Neighbour, the People's National Party will continue in this manner to try and derail the biggest improvement and advancement of the country and Jamaicans alike. And if the people speak to rewarding that advancement, I don't see what the People's National Party will have in their tank to derail any advancement for Jamaica again, because that will be a monumental vocalization from the people in terms of refusing them to say you are not ready to lead us, and as such you have to take a backbench or you get with the program and be a part of us moving forward.
Fantastic. Well, great having you. Stay where you are, Harry. Let me close out YouTube. YouTube, tomorrow we're going to be continuing this. The cost of collapse, the road to Singapore, Jamaica is on the path to development. You're going to have to join us tomorrow. We're going to deepen the dialogue. Tomorrow I'm going to look at the cost of corruption, scandals. You want to join me? I'm going to go through the scandals again for you tomorrow and put a cost on them and tell you how much money it costs Jamaica. I wonder if Mr. Perry could help me with that. One of the things that Singapore did, was that they cut out corruption. Well, I don't know if they cut it out, but they had a very strong position on corruption. You want to join me tomorrow, and I will help you to see how corruption costs us, the cost of corruption, scandals for sale in the 90s. My God, every week there was a new scandal breaking. What did it cost us? Well, join me tomorrow, and we will deepen that dialogue. YouTube, have a great night. Take care of yourself. TikTok, stay where you are. I'm coming back to you. Shafreen, say good night.